In the verdant kingdom of Eldoria, nestled between emerald hills and sapphire rivers, lived Princess Sophia, a young woman renowned for her courage and compassion. With her chestnut hair cascading in waves and eyes that sparkled with determination, Sophia was beloved by her people. Eldoria thrived under her father, King Alaric, a just ruler who ensured peace for decades. But beneath the kingdom's serene surface, a shadow stirred, a cunning sorcerer named Malachar, whose heart was consumed by envy and ambition. Malachar had once been a trusted advisor to King Alaric, his intellect unmatched in matters of magic and strategy. But his hunger for power grew insatiable. Banished years ago for dabbling in forbidden dark arts, Malachar had retreated to the desolate Blackthorn Peaks, where he honed his malevolent craft. Now he returned with a sinister plan to seize Eldoria's throne, wielding a cursed artifact known as the Shadow Crown, said to bend the will of any who gazed upon it. Sophia, at 19, was preparing for her first diplomatic mission to the neighboring kingdom of Valthorn. She dreamed of fostering alliances that would strengthen Eldoria's prosperity. On the eve of her journey, as the castle glowed with torchlight and the air buzzed with anticipation, a chilling wind swept through the halls. Servants whispered of strange omens, ravens circling the towers, mirrors cracking without cause. Sophia dismissed these as superstition, but her heart felt a quiet unease. At dawn, as Sophia's caravan ready to depart, Malachar struck. From the peaks, he unleashed a spell that cloaked Eldoria in an unnatural fog, thick and gray, that swallowed sound and light. Panic gripped the kingdom as crops withered and livestock fell ill. Worse, the Shadow Crown's influence began to seep into the minds of Eldoria's people, sowing discord. Neighbors turned against neighbors, and even King Alaric's advisors bickered, their loyalty wavering. Sophia, stranded at the castle gates, realized this was no mere storm. She sought her father, finding him in the throne room, his face pale and eyes distant. "Father, what is this darkness?" she asked, her voice steady despite her fear. King Alaric clutched a parchment, its edges charred. "Malachar," he whispered. "He demands the throne in exchange for lifting this curse. The Shadow Crown, it's more powerful than I feared." Sophia's resolve hardened. "We cannot yield to him. I'll find a way to stop this." Her father protested, but Sophia was undeterred. She knew the ancient texts in the royal library spoke of the Light of Eloria, a mystical gem hidden in the Forest of Whispers, capable of countering dark magic. If she could retrieve it, she might break Malachar's spell. With her trusted friend, Lyra, a skilled archer with a sharp wit, and Sir Roland, a grizzled knight loyal to the crown, Sophia set out under the cover of the fog. The Forest of Whispers was a labyrinth of twisted trees and eerie murmurs, where shadows seemed to move with intent. Sophia's heart pounded as they navigated its paths, guided only by a faded map from the library. Lyra's arrows kept prowling beasts at bay, while Roland's sword gleamed with readiness. But the forest tested their spirits. The whispers grew louder, taunting Sophia with doubts. "You're too young. You'll fail. Eldoria will fall." "Shut out the voices," Sophia told herself, gripping the map tighter. She recalled her mother's words, spoken before her passing. "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to act despite it." Those words became her anchor. After hours of trekking, they reached a glade where the air shimmered with faint light. At its center stood a pedestal, and atop it, the Light of Eloria glowed like a captured star. But as Sophia reached for it, the ground trembled. From the shadows emerged a creature of Malachar's creation, a hulking beast of smoke and bone, its eyes burning with malice. Roland charged, his sword clashing against its hide, while Lyra's arrows struck true but barely slowed it. Sophia, thinking quickly, noticed the beast recoiled from the gem's light. She grabbed a fallen branch, wrapped it in cloth, and held it near the gem, igniting it with radiant energy. Wielding the makeshift torch, she drove the creature back, its form dissolving into the fog. With a steady hand, she claimed the Light of Eloria, its warmth pulsing in her palm. But their victory was short-lived. As they exited the forest, Malachar appeared, his black robes billowing, the shadow crown gleaming darkly on his brow. "Foolish girl," he sneered, his voice like ice. "You think that trinket can stop me?" Sophia stood firm, the gem glowing brighter in her grasp. "You've poisoned our kingdom, Malachar. I won't let you win." Malachar laughed, raising his hand. The fog thickened, and spectral figures, illusions of Eldoria's fallen warriors, lunged at Sophia's companions. Roland and Lyra fought bravely, but the apparitions were relentless. Malakar's eyes locked on Sophia, the Shadow Crown's power pressing against her mind, urging her to kneel. "You cannot resist," Malakar whispered, his voice echoing in her skull. "Join me and Eldoria will be yours to rule." Sophia's vision blurred, her knees buckling. Images of her ruling a prosperous Eldoria flashed before her, tempting her with glory. But she saw through the lie. Malakar's promises were chains disguised as crowns. Clinging to her mother's words, Sophia focused on the light of Eloria. Its warmth burned away the crown's influence, clearing her mind. "I am Sophia of Eldoria," she declared, raising the gem. "And I choose my people." The light of Eloria flared, its brilliance cutting through the fog. The spectral figures vanished and Malakar staggered, shielding his eyes. Sophia advanced, the gem's power amplifying her resolve. She spoke words from an ancient chant she'd found in the library, words of binding and banishment. The gem pulsed in rhythm, its light enveloping Malakar. "No," he roared, clawing at the Shadow Crown. But the gem's power was absolute. The crown shattered, its fragments dissolving into ash. Malakar's form wavered, his magic unraveling. With a final scream, he collapsed, his body fading into the dispersing fog. The kingdom stirred as the curse lifted. Sunlight pierced the clouds, and the people of Eldoria blinked as if waking from a nightmare. Sophia, Lyra, and Roland returned to the castle, weary but triumphant. King Alaric embraced his daughter, tears in his eyes. "You saved us," he said. Sophia shook her head. "We saved us. Together." In the days that followed, Eldoria healed. The crops revived and unity returned to the people. Sophia placed the light of Eloria in the throne room, a beacon of hope. She resumed her diplomatic mission to Valthorn, now with a story of courage to share. Lyra and Roland stood by her side, their bond forged in battle. Yet Sophia knew Malakar's shadow lingered in memory, a reminder that peace was fragile. She vowed to protect Eldoria, not just with strength, but with wisdom and unity. As she rode toward Valthorn, the wind carried the scent of blooming flowers, and Sophia smiled, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead.